When you see something going wrong in the organization, this is already always a tough one, right? It's anyways annoying that something is going wrong, but then it's going wrong somewhere where there's a colleague responsible. And now the question is, what do you do? Do you put the finger in the wound? Do you say what's going wrong? Do you just accept it? If you approach the colleague and point out what's going wrong, will they be okay with that? Will it be a conflict emerging? And how can you fix it? Now, things going wrong is always tricky, but the reality is there's many things in all the organizations going wrong all the time. And it is a completely normal thing that things are going wrong. Actually, whenever you do things, there are mistakes happening. There are things you should divert attention to, but you don't. And there's priority challenges. And in many cases, there's also paradoxes where you can only decide whether you do it wrong this way or whether you do it wrong that way, but there's no way of doing everything perfectly right. For example, if you're having budget restrictions and you don't have enough budget to do two things perfectly, but you need to do two things, and then you start improvising. So it's in the nature of an organization that things are going wrong, that things are not optimal, that things are not perfect. But then the big question is, how is an organization dealing with that? Because the more you look at it and the more you improve on the things that are not good enough, the better the outcome is. And even though you will not be able to fix everything, more things fixed translates into better business outcome and better performance. And better performance in the end translates into higher profitability, and that transforms into people being calm, business running smoothly, and operations going well, right? So there's an inherent interest in making sure that things are going right and that you can fix them as good as possible. Now, if you see something going wrong, let's say with a colleague, or let's say with a top manager, or let's say with only your manager, then there are three different things that you could do. And the typical final thing that we do is actually the fourth thing, that is the escalation. So we see something going wrong and we go and we approach somebody else and we tell them, hey, this is going wrong and you need to fix it. Now, the fourth, the escalation, is actually the thing that we least want to do. And it's a fourth thing, right? There is one, two, three things before you do that you can use in order to make sure that you actually don't need to escalate. Now, the classic escalation is you walk to somebody superior who has the power and the authority to fix the system, to fix the problem, to approach the colleague, to make a directive in order to get it done. Now, this is really only the last thing that you should do. First of all, there is the colleague who actually kind of owns the problem. And this is the first step that we talk about. And this is giving feedback and making sure that you are addressing the issue. Now, giving feedback and addressing the issue is something slightly different. And we look at it in a separate video. And we have one for feedback, we have one for addressing critical issues. Now, what you want to do as a basic logic is you want to approach the colleague in a way that they understand that it is you helping to fix the problem, why you bring it up. That it's not a judgment of going like, hey, you are fucking it up and you are the idiot here, but that it's a genuine attempt of getting things better for everybody. Now, if that is the framing and if that is the context for giving the feedback and addressing the issue, this is something that needs a proper communication structure, but will typically lead to solving the issue and making sure that things are going out of the way. Only then, only if somebody is not responding here, then you would give kind of a meta feedback. Now, a feedback, as we have it over here, a feedback is pointing out what could be improved. A meta feedback is a feedback about how they went along using the feedback. So a meta feedback would be something like, last week I approached you with that concern, and I was hoping that this would be fixed. Now, until now, I haven't seen you acting on it, and I don't see it fixed yet. To me, it looks like that you are not acting on it. So, what is going on here? That would be a meta feedback. This is giving feedback about the reception of the first feedback and hoping that a conversation emerges about how can it be fixed. Now, meta feedback works exactly like feedback, just is the upper level. It's not feedback about the thing anymore, but feedback about receiving feedback. Only then we have a topic of actually escalation. Now, escalation in that topic here means that we prepare the final step of escalation, but we only prepare it. It's escalating without escalating, and that's why it's called the soft escalation. So soft escalation is basically announcing that you would need to escalate it if they don't find a way of fixing it. This is also something where we send you a specific video on how to do soft escalation. The basic logic behind it is addressing the negative consequences emerging from the problem not being fixed. So let's have a talk about how to fix it so that I don't need to escalate that. So basically, you're implicitly saying I would need to escalate if we don't find a solution. But if we find a solution, I won't escalate. And it's pulling the screws a little bit tighter, putting some little bit more pressure on. But then again, it's necessary after the first two steps didn't work, right? But it's not right away the threat of leading in authority. And in the end, we only have the escalation. The escalation is then actually the final escalation, and it's called hard escalation. That is also not only going to the colleague who is the superior of the one not fixing it and just saying, hey, he doesn't do his job, but it's a little more sophisticated and gives another impulse for the one who needs to fix a problem in order to get it really done. So from here on, we are preparing two videos. The first one will be feedback and also meta feedback, because that's basically the same thing. So that will be the first one. The second one will be addressing issues, and we'll have a third video about soft and hard escalation. And if you see anything going wrong, you can feel free to dive in and use that structure of approaches in order to fix that, so that you are the one helping the organization to fix a problem, so that it's going to be better for everybody.